All right, off we go. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio. Good to be here on the program today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Miami Heat, a team which, shockingly enough, eliminates the Boston Celtics in 5 games and moves on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they will play either the Atlanta Hawks or the Chicago Bulls. An absolutely, in my opinion, a somewhat surprising result, but as predicted on this show by Corey Bender, the Heat win in 5. And I didn't see it. I couldn't see this series going any less than 6. I picked the Celtics to win initially because I thought they had all the talent in all the right places inside and at point guard. Turns out their size really isn't really doing it for them. Big Baby turns out to be just that, a big baby. He's kind of soft. Kevin Garnett is old and slow, as is Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. Well, actually, Ray Allen is old, but he can still hit that jumper. But who would have thought that this series ends with the guy that isn't clutch, the guy that they say can't make the big shot at the end of games, the guy that keeps losing in the playoffs because he's overrated, the guy that has been scrutinized pretty much since his junior year in high school, every single move being questioned. He's the guy that scores the last 10 points of the game to seal the deal for the Miami Heat against the Boston Celtics. Yeah, LeBron James. I'm sorry, can we stop saying LeBron isn't clutch? 4 minutes to go in the game, Heat are down by 6. They score the last 16 points of the game. LeBron scores the last 10 by himself. Game is tied. LeBron hits a big 3 to take the lead. Comes back down again on the next possession. Hits another big 3 to take a 6-point lead. Then gets a steal and throws that down on the other end by himself. And he turned around and looked at Paul Pierce like, "Oh, are you not coming after me?" And then just runs it, just throws it down. It was fantastic. And then one more quick drive to the lane for an easy bucket, and that put the Boston Celtics away. So, you ask, why are we criticizing LeBron? I don't get it. I've never understood criticizing LeBron. Yeah, the decision sucked, and we're all gonna criticize him for that forever. I get it. But yelling at him when you said, "Oh, he can't leave Cleveland. He has to play in a crappy city on a crappy team for the rest of his life." Like, that doesn't make any sense either. Just let the dude go and play in Miami. It's a cop-out. He's playing with another superstar. Yeah, he is. But at the end of the day, he's the man. If there was any question of that before Game 5, no, he pretty much put that to rest. He's the man in Miami. More so than D. Wade is. This is LeBron's team. He's scoring the last 10 points of the game. The last 10 points of the game by himself. He was phenomenal. LeBron was phenomenal. D. Wade had a big first half, carried him a little bit. LeBron with the quick 10 at the end to seal the deal. He's a closer. He's a game changer. It's the phrase that the term that I coined, rather, for Kevin Durant, really. But it reigns true with every elite player in the NBA. A transcendent player that changes games. And that's LeBron. LeBron is a transcendent player that changes games. He is the best player in the NBA. And, oh, by the way, the second best player in the NBA is probably Dwayne Wade. And he's on his team. Just, pretend that none of this ever happened. That all these guys are still in their separate cities before the summer. And just close your eyes and just imagine. You don't even have to put names to them. Imagine the 2 best players in the NBA on the same team. That's what this is. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade on the same team. I know we've gotten kind of used to it, and we're almost numb to it now as a as a sports community. But, I mean, this is something huge that we've never seen before. And we talk about LeBron copping out. He's not copping out. This is unbelievable. To have the two best players in the NBA on the same team, you can make an argument it will never happen again in the history of the NBA. It's never happened before. Actually, you can make a pretty good argument Magic and Kareem were the two best players in the NBA when they were together. I guess Bird and MJ was starting to get up there, depending on which part of the 80s you're talking about. It was unbelievable. These two guys on the same team is unbelievable. And Chris Bosh is really good too. And you're telling me those two guys. Now, really, I should have seen this. Like, I'm sorry I didn't foresee it. But you're telling me these two guys are going to come together and aren't going to win. Oh, okay. No. Of course they were going to win. This is why they came together. They're on a mission. These are the two biggest egos in the NBA except for Kobe. But Kobe's ego is just on a level all its own. I mean, it's just a massive ego that's just beyond anything we've ever seen. Even MJ's ego is like, dude, really? Kobe? Come on. So maybe it's not that big, but these are two huge egos, and they were able to subside and come together. I don't think they had any differences, but if they did, they put them aside, so they could get together and win titles. And now they're 2 steps away from doing that. And slaying the Boston Celtics is huge. To put away a team that has tortured both D-Wade and LeBron for the last 3 or 4 years is invaluable. For LeBron to get rid of his own personal demons, he played a brilliant Game 7 against Paul Pierce back in 2008, and the Celtics ended up winning that game. And then he had that crazy series last year where the rest of the team didn't show up, and then one night he didn't show up, and and then eventually the Celtics were just able to beat him because Cleveland is terrible. And LeBron just can't do it by himself anymore, and he walks off the court taking off the jersey. I've had enough of Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. And we all know where it moved on to from there. But, D-Wade lost in the first round a few times, and he had less than no talent. Dwayne Wade had less than no talent. The talent around Dwayne Wade was atrocious. You talk about Mario Chalmers being your point guard, whatever. You talk about some of the guys that were around him, you can't even name names. It was such an awful team. And Dwayne Wade had to literally score 40 points a night for them to win a game. They would lose in 5, and the one game they won was because Dwayne Wade scored like 49 points in overtime and just by himself just willed the Heat to a victory because he is a transcendent player that changes games. I'm going to use that phrase for pretty much the rest of my life because I think it's phenomenal, and I came up with it. Let the record show a radio host, a fake radio host that gets 4 views a show, coined the term transcendent player that changes games. It's poetic, it rolls off the tongue very nicely, and I came up with it. I gotta get that shit copywritten, man. Gotta get it copywritten. So, now you look a step forward. Now that LeBron and D-Wade have, I believe, exorcised all of their demons, now all they have to do is dominate a mediocre Chicago team, which they will in 5 games. I'm going to say that right now. Chicago's going to win tonight in Atlanta, I think, and move on to the conference finals. Miami will take care of them in 5 games. No big deal. It'll be like, the gum on your shoe. Kind of annoying, but eventually you get it off. Right out there. And now they go to the NBA Finals, where you're either going to play a Dallas Mavericks team that has to rely heavily on Dirk Nowitzki, or an Oklahoma City team that is very, very good. Turn the tables on you. They will not have an easy time with Oklahoma City. Because Oklahoma City has the same thing that Miami has. Now, Miami has the 2 best players in the NBA. Thunder have Kevin Durant, one of the 5 best players in the NBA, and Russell Westbrook is the best non-passing point guard in the league outside of Derrick Rose. And very good. And I think they're figuring out how to, take turns shooting now, if you will, because Russell Westbrook, turned out to be a selfish player, which I actually didn't see coming. Another thing I missed. I thought I had the NBA playoffs figured out. I've missed on quite a bit this year. I was much better last year. Ask anybody. I was much, much better last year. predicting the playoffs because they were so predictable because Boston and LA, and that was it. But now you got Oklahoma City, who does everything Miami can do: play defense, score like hell. When Durant and Westbrook gets going, it's the best thing in the NBA. Even more so than D Wade and LeBron, because like D Wade and LeBron, it's flashy, but sometimes it's not prolific. Like Durant and Westbrook can combine for 80 points a game themselves, and you need three guys in Miami to do that. Now that's in triple overtime, and yeah, I know, but so Oklahoma City rather, can do everything Miami can do, and they have a brilliant inside presence. So, and Miami doesn't have an inside presence. We've said this forever. Miami doesn't have anybody inside. Udonis Haslem can come back. How effective is that going to be? I have no idea. It's interesting to see. I don't know where the Heat are with their inside presence. I don't think the Heat, that could be a problem. You could easily see Perkins and Serge Ibaka. You could see, and Muhammad, you could see Oklahoma City's big guys dominating inside against Miami, and the Thunder ending up winning the whole thing. I'm a huge Oklahoma City fan. I personally think they're going to go to the NBA Finals over Dallas. I'm not that big on Dallas. I don't know why. Just not that big on Dallas, but I do think we're going to see Oklahoma City and Miami in the finals, which I predicted correctly before the regular season started. I had Oklahoma City and Miami in the finals. Patting myself on the back right now. Thank you very much. So it's interesting. Miami's going to cruise through, and they would have an easy time with the Mavericks, in my opinion. They're going to have a very hard time with Oklahoma City if that's the final. So be careful, Miami, when you get to OKC. You're going to kill the Bulls. You'd handle the Mavericks potentially. Oklahoma City is the biggest matchup problem left for any team in the NBA. Keep that in mind. All right, that's the show today. Very good stuff. I enjoyed it as usual. Just one segment today. Not much too else going on. JMFPSP on Saturday. The liver is happening. We are going to be cashing in the bracket wager. Tim, Corey, and myself will all be eating liver. My dad will be making his BWC Internet Radio debut, discussing how he prepared the dish, and telling us what it's supposed to taste like, and if we're going to like it or not. So we'll be cashing in on that, talking about the biggest stories in sports. Tim will be here, so we'll talk a little baseball. That'll be exciting. Thanks to everyone who listened. It's the Ryan Hartson Show on BWC Internet Radio.